Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Match reaction for the 1-0 win over AC Milan. Our pre-season has kick-started with a nice win, a 1-0 win, a clean sheet. We always love clean sheets, so that was great. So a couple of good standout performances. The game also went to penalties despite us winning like last year, the Man United game. Almost like 9 players took penalties each, so they won the penalty shootout 6-5. Kepa made 3 saves in that penalty shootout, so that is always great. Having a keeper who can save penalties, especially a keeper who's going to play in the cup competitions, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. You never know, you might need him in some of those penalty shootouts. So that was fantastic from Kepa, but we did miss a lot of penalties there, but absolutely no problem. We focused on the game and the fitness of the players and, the standout players and what needs to be improved and which other players can come to, improve the areas that we need improvement. So in terms of the lineup, this is what we went for. We went with David Raya in goal, and then we went with the back four of Ben White at right back, Zinchenko at left back, Calafiori and Saliba at center back. So that was obviously the mixture you expect. No Gabriel, no Timber, no problem there. Obviously, Gabriel is just coming back from a 4-month injury, a hamstring injury. He played 45 minutes over the weekend. No need of risking him in this game at all. They give him the rest that he needs. William Saliba, solid as always in that position. And Timber as well. Timber was also rested. So Calafiori and Saliba and at central defense, it is great to see them together there as well. Calafiori very, very comfortable on the ball. Saliba as well. And then Ben White, good to see Ben White and Saka creating that combination on the right side once again. We haven't seen it in a couple of seasons. Zinchenko on the left side, as he always does, comes into midfield, tries to control the tempo of the ball of the game from the midfield area. And then midfield, we went with Nogard making his debut, first Arsenal start. He was very good in the first half. And then NWANERI playing as a 10. We were told that NWANERI has been promised a central position this season, so he was playing in the central, in the Odegaard position. And then Declan Rice playing in the usual position. He's been playing for us as a number 8. And then up front, we went with Saka on the right side. He captained the team today. And then Havertz was up front as expected. It was either him or Merino, but Havertz got the nod. And then Martinelli was on the left wing. So it was going to be him or Trossard. So we mixed the team a bit here. We left the likes of Odegaard on the bench. We left the likes of Trossard on the bench. We left Zubimendi on the bench. We left players like Lewis Kelly on the bench. So and rested Gabriel and Timber. And so we did make a few changes here and there. So obviously you'd expect a lot of changes. This is not how we're going to line up in the next game. Probably Zubimendi starts next game, probably Trossard starts next game. But I was really looking forward to seeing how good Calafiori would look once again at center back next to Saliba. I was also looking forward to seeing Ben White next to Saka once again. That relationship between the two on the right side was really good next to Odegaard 2 seasons ago. And then I was also looking forward to seeing Nogard making his debut in that central defense. Let's see his strengths and let's see his weaknesses. And then also, obviously, NWANERI in the 10 starting a game, getting at least 47 minutes, 45 minutes at least. He was great as well in that first half. And yeah, we know what to expect from the likes of Saka and players like that. So, and Rice and Havertz as well, and Martinelli. Obviously, you're looking to see some improvement from players like Martinelli and Havertz starting in those positions. But today it was all about getting fitness. My prediction for the game was 1-1. I thought it was going to be, kind of a slow burner, because if you look at this squad, how many of these players were injured last season? Quite a few of them, Ben White has been injured a lot. Calafiori has been injured a lot. Saka coming back from an injury as well. Havertz coming back from an injury as well. So they're not going to be, full 100% fully fit, ready to go. Plus, after coming back from injuries, we had an off season, so the players have been on holiday. So you don't expect them to be, hitting the ground running right away. So I was predicting 1-1, but actually the first half was quite lively in terms of moving the ball quick and passing through the lanes and players like Declan Rice pushing forward, Nogard pushing forward. There was a point where our defensive line was literally where NWANERI is supposed to be. Saliba and Calafiori are not scared about, pushing forward because they trust themselves in terms of pace and running back. Saka was very lively as always, and no surprises there. Saka once again being very, very lively on that right side. A lot was going through him once again. He put in he went past his defender 4 or 5 times in that first half. NWANERI was very lively as well. NWANERI is not scared of shooting the ball. That's why I love him. There's a shot that he took that reminded me of Thierry Henry against Man United a lot of years back when Thierry Henry got the ball and flicked it up and volleyed it to the top corner. NWANERI almost did that today. He got the pass from Nogard, flicked it up, and then shot it, but it was saved. It wasn't quite top corner like the Thierry Henry one, but NWANERI is not scared of shooting the ball. If you give him space, he's going to shoot the ball. So he looked very lively today as well. Nogard was okay in midfield, no problem. Nothing really stood out apart from the positioning. He was even as the number 10 up at some point. He was on the right wing at some point, Nogard. So he wasn't just staying as a number 6. He was moving around. So you can see how he got a few goals for Brentford over the years. And then obviously, who else do I want to talk about? Martinelli. Now, I saw the tweets at halftime about Martinelli, people saying, Martinelli needs to be sold, he's selfish. I don't think Martinelli is selfish. I just think his decision-making is not great, because there's a couple of times where he got in the box, and there's once when Havertz was running to his left side. Havertz made a tackle, gave the ball to Martinelli, and then it was basically 2-on-2. All Martinelli needed to do is just to flick the ball to the left side of Havertz, and then Havertz has a chance to shoot the ball. But Martinelli went to shoot the ball in between two AC Milan players. But there's still some good that he did in that first half. Martinelli going past his fullback a couple of times and creating, crossing the ball a couple of times. I don't think he was that bad to the point of sell Martinelli, but decision making has to improve. Martinelli's decision making has to improve, because so many times he gets into those forward positions, and when he's supposed to shoot, he passes. When he's supposed to pass, he tries to shoot in between 3 players. Definitely need to change that. Who else do I want to talk about? Rice was lively as well, especially the first 20 minutes. Rice was involved in everything. He was making tackles, running forward, getting into the box, very lively. Defensively, actually, in the first half, you were great. Even Zinchenko and Calafiori, they're all making good tackles, good interceptions, and we're basically dominating the game. You could watch the first 20 minutes and you could say, AC Milan are not going to score in this game. You can just tell from the way we play. Now, last season, we did that a lot, all over the place. We did that a lot last season, but we always ended up conceding when the other team counterattacked us. But today, Saliba very solid, Calafiori very solid. Saliba in the second half, there's a time Saliba, I think it was Loftus-Cheek running through to get a one-on-one chance, and Saliba ran from the other side across the pitch to come and tackle him, and he got the ball back without fouling him, without giving away a free kick, without giving away a penalty, without giving away a corner. He took the ball away from him, and we were back in the attack. Saliba is absolutely incredible. Once again, it was great seeing Saliba at Calafiori at centre back. Sorry, Ben White getting how many minutes did he get? He got 65 minutes. That is great as well. We've never really had Ben White and Timber on the same team at the same time. One is usually good, the other one is usually injured. When the other one is good, the other one is injured, and not like 1 week injuries. We are talking about ACL injury. 9 months out for Timber, and the other last season Ben White was out for a long time. So hopefully we can get to see both of them on the pitch at the same time this season. No, not at the same time, but one can come off, the other one can come on, like that. A good rotation is what I mean. Havertz was drifting to the right side a lot as well. He was going to work the ball with Saka on the right side. He put in a couple of crosses, but Havertz is meant to be the striker waiting in the box, so he's in the midfield and on the right wing. So that's why we've been crying for a striker. That is not even really Havertz's game, sitting just waiting in the box. Now that is not his game. So you could see he was drifting to the right side, drifting to the left side, creating chances as well. But yeah, most of the players were okay in the first half. I don't think anyone maybe decision making from Martinelli. Yeah, I don't think there was anyone really that disappointed me that much in the first half. I mean, I didn't expect them to be full tempo in the first preseason game, and Raya basically didn't have anything to do at all, so he was just there. So Saka, brilliant for me in the first half. My best play in the first half was Saka, Ben White, and probably Calafiori because of a couple of challenges that he made. Now, at halftime, he actually made a lot of subs. Lewis Kelly came on, Odegaard came on, Trossard came on, Zubimendi came on, Kepa came on, and Kivio came on. We took off Zinchenko, NWANERI, Martinelli, Nogard, Raya, and Calafiori. And then, so basically we had maybe closer to our first team now, since we had Rice on the pitch still, Saliba on the pitch. We introduced Odegaard, Saka was still on the pitch, so we made a few... we made it look like a bit like the first team, just a little bit minus players like Gabriel and Drewy and Timber. So in the second half, we know what to expect from players like Lewis Kelly. Obviously, Odegaard was definitely involved in a lot in that second half. Everything was going through him. He was controlling the passes, moving the ball around. Could have scored. I think he had like 2 or 3 shots in that game. Could easily have scored. Could easily have had an assist as well. There's a through ball he gave to Trossard. He was unlucky with that one. Could have had an assist at that case. Kep only had one save to make in the 90 minutes, so nothing much to talk about there. And he got the ball a couple of times to pass from the back, so he didn't see him a lot. Zubimendi, again, because the ball wasn't going to the side too many times, didn't really get to see Kepa controlling the ball and Zubimendi controlling the ball. We were seeing Zubimendi like in the final third, trying to pick out through passes. And also for Trossard, I think Trossard was more lively than Martinelli, maybe better decision making in the second half for sure. And then for Kivio, I've always told you guys I don't want Kivio to be sold. And after watching him today once again, there's no way you can sell Kivio. Unless you're giving us 50 million plus, Kivio is not for sale for me. He's too good. He's a very good passer of the ball. Those long passes, Kivio knows how to do them. And today he assisted the goal for Saka. And the cross was like a Trent Alexander-Arnold cross from him. Very, very good cross from Kivio. First time as well. He did not have time to control the ball and look. He got the pass, I think it was from Trossard or Rice, one of them, and then he just crossed the ball right away, and it was onside from Saka. Saka timed his run well, and the finish itself from Saka was a bit because it just I don't think that is how he intended to hit the ball, but as long as it ended up being a goal, that is what we worry about. Very good cross from Kivio, fantastic player to make it 1-0, and we needed the goal to open up the game a little bit, but there was a few chances here and there, a few shots. We had more than 20 shots in this game. AC Milan were packing the bus a lot in the first half. They were trying to counter-attack in the second half, but overall AC Milan had 2 shots in the game, so they weren't really attacking that much. Josh Nichols, Salmon, Merino, and DOWMAN came on. Ben White, Saliba, Rice, and Saka went off. Havertz was the only one now remaining at this point who had started the game, and I was really looking forward to seeing Salmon defending and Nichols on that right side and Max DOWMAN. Now we've seen Nichols before, but we haven't really seen DOWMAN and Salmon. Now, oh my goodness, so DOWMAN is very good at controlling the ball. Like if you watch the game and you don't know how old he is and you don't see his face, if you just watch him from afar, you'll just think he's David Silva. You'll think like, oh, Arsenal, David Silva came back from retirement and he signed for Arsenal. You'll think that is David Silva on the right wing. Absolutely fantastic control of the ball. And it literally reminds me of players like Lewis Kelly, not afraid to take on players, doesn't care if he's 13 years old, 15 years old. He does not care at all. He was the way he's moving the ball, the technique, you can tell like there's definitely a player there, very, very good player there. We didn't really obviously get to see him. I mean, he actually took a shot, I think. Yeah, he took a shot, just flashed past the far post. Literally like 5 minutes after coming on, he dribbled past players and, shot the ball into almost a goal. I would have screamed if DOWMAN scored. I don't care if it was a friendly. So all that was very, very neat work from him, very confident on the ball. Hopefully we get to see him more in this preseason, and hopefully we can see him in a couple of games next season as well if he's able to play. Merino was also involved a lot when he came on. He started he played as a number 8 today, not as a striker, but he was obviously involved a lot. He could easily have scored as well, had a chance, a header from Odegaard's corners. Odegaard had a lot of corners today, and we were taking a lot of short corners. So I don't know if you're going to change that tactic next season and you're going to mix it up, long corners and short corners, because today we took a lot of short corners from Odegaard. Some of them worked, some of them ended up being a waste. But the few times that Odegaard put the ball in the box, one of them ended up being a Merino header and a very good save from the AC Milan goalkeeper. That point, Kepa made the first save of the game for us. That's the only shot that AC Milan took. And then we brought in Reiss Nelson for Kai Havertz. Reiss Nelson is another very funny player. I was doing a watch along and I said that when you watch Reiss Nelson, for me, I gave up on Reiss Nelson like 2 years ago already. I was like, yeah, we need to move on. Maitland-Niles, it was 3 years ago, and then at that same period, I was like, yeah, I think it's time now to move on players like Niles and Nelson and just go to the next step now to, we already have players like Saka now emerging and other players emerging from hell. And now Nelson ended up staying that season. He was injured and then he ended up staying, and then obviously ended up scoring that big goal against Bournemouth and had a bit of an impact off the bench a few games. And then he ended up signing a new contract. Now, his loan spells haven't really worked out because of injuries, and he hasn't really stood out in terms of performances because he hasn't really been playing. He's been having an injury. But then you watch Nelson today, and you're like, there's a lot of talent there, man. He's just dribbling past players. He had a shot that almost went in. The goalkeeper saved it. Should have been 2-0 from that. You feel like this is a player who's taking on players. Look at him dribbling, cutting to his right foot, shooting the ball. That's what you want from a wing. A winger's going to, sometimes left side, cross the ball. He also created a chance for Odegaard. Sometimes gets to the right foot, shoots the ball. So Nelson is very confusing. Every time you watch him, you're like, yeah, you definitely need to sell him. And then you watch him again, you're like, he actually looks good. Should we keep him? You just never know. Now, at the moment, there's no team that is really trying to sign him. Fulham want him on loan, so I don't know. And he's not going to be an Arsenal player next season. So let's see if he goes to on loan again, if he can perform over there, and if you can get money for him. I don't know. So that was Reece Nelson off the bench. I think he looked lively for sure. He had a couple of shots actually. There's one that was outside the box that just passed the far post just a little bit. So yeah, he was actually close to scoring twice, and he was also close to getting an assist for Odegaard. I think his shot was saved. So in the second half, I said the first half, Saka, Ben White, and Calaferi stood out for me. In the second half, I would say Max Dowman impressed me a lot. For those 20 minutes he was on, 25 minutes he was on, Max Dowman was really good. The touch, everything was very lively. Absolutely enjoyed watching him. Nelson was also good, as I've just said. Nelson was very, very involved as well. And Odegaard, in terms of creating the ball, I mean, Odegaard is very comfortable on the ball. Now, sometimes we need him to shoot when he passes. Sometimes we need him to pass, and he takes too much time on the ball. But you watch him on the ball most of that game, and you're like, yeah, everything is just controlling everything. You feel like if you're going to score, it's going to be Odegaard for Odegaard's play or pass or something. He had a couple of through passes, could easily have had an assist. Had a lot of shots. He had a lot of space in that game. In his position, he was also going to Saka's wing and getting a lot of space. Some of his corners also created a couple of chances. So yeah, let's see. There's definitely, if Eze is signed, there's going to be a lot of competition because NWANERI played well in the first half. I mean, even Max Dowman played really well. And then if Eze is there as well, that's more competition. So obviously a lot of work for Odegaard. I don't think Odegaard is going to be as bad as he was last season. I think he's definitely going to improve. So that is already great news, because if Odegaard improves, we're already in a better position, because if we can get the Odegaard from 3 years ago, we're in a very, very good place. Now, we went to a penalty shootout. We won the game, but there was a penalty shootout for practice. So at this point, obviously, the players like Saka were off, Declan Rice was off, all the other players were off, Havertz and all those guys. So actually, it turned out to be a very good penalty shootout, because most of the players ended up taking the penalties, because this is just for practice. So you don't want it to be like 3 penalties and the game is over. So actually, 9 players ended up taking the penalties. So I was happy we went to a penalty shootout just to see how Kepa does, because the penalties that he's been at doing at Chelsea before, he wasn't really a good penalty stopper. But Kepa was really good in today's penalty shootout. Very, very good. He saved 3 penalties, and the more important ones, like the 4th one and the 5th one, before sudden death. Very, very good saves as well. But first, I missed the Odegaard penalty, so I don't know how he took it, but he missed it. So that's the only penalty that I missed. Zubimendi scored his. I think he put it to the left of the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper jumped to the other side. Merino scored his. I think it was the same as well. Left of the goalkeeper went to the other side. Merino usually takes some penalties for Spain as well. The penalty shootouts that they've had recently in the Nations League and all that. He's been taking penalties. He's good at them. Reece Nelson missed his. I don't think it was a bad penalty. But he's a very good save from their goalkeeper as well, to be fair. So Nelson put it on the other side, the right side of the goalkeeper. Keeper saved it. Kivio's penalty was saved. He took the same penalty that Mendy and Merino took to that side, but this time the keeper saved. It wasn't the best of penalties from Kivio. I think out of all the penalties that we took that were on target, that was probably the worst that we took in terms of shots on target of the penalties, because Salmon missed his and it went over the bar. Dowman's penalty went in. Of course, Max Dowman scored. It's Max Dowman. Of course, he scored his penalty. He's the best player in the world. Of course, he scored his penalty. Trossard scored his. I'm never a fan of Trossard's penalties, but his penalty today was good. Nothing complicated. So at that point, Zubimendi, Merino, and Dowman and Trossard had scored, and then we'd missed 3. So after Nelson took his, Kepa saved the 4th penalty from AC Milan, and then Kivio missed ours. So AC Milan had the chance to win it with the 5th penalty, but Kepa made another save. So he made back-to-back saves, the 4th penalty and the 5th penalty, and both of them very, very good saves. And to have a keeper like Kepa, I've always wanted to say that. I wanted to say that as an Arsenal keeper. Kepa as the keeper, In the cup competitions, it's very important because, in the Carabao Cup, there's usually no extra time. You might just end up going to a penalty shootout right away. FA Cup, you might need a penalty shootout. I mean, we went out of the FA Cup last season because of a penalty shootout. And we've actually been losing a few penalty shootouts recently. They minted twice last season, today and all that. So you'll need a goalkeeper who's going to save the penalty. So today, Kepa did his job. Kepa was very good in terms of stopping the penalty. So in another day, you're meant to win that. When your keeper saves 3 penalties, you're supposed to win that penalty shootout. But the way we took our penalties, we missed a lot of them. So Nichols' penalty was great. Salmon shot the ball over the bar, but hey, no problem. Not even the fact that he's 15 years old. He's a defender anyway, so absolutely no problem. So Odegaard missed his, Nelson missed his, Kivior missed his, Salmon missed his. In total, there was like 7 missed penalties in this game, so a lot of people missed their penalties. But obviously, in a standout game in the FA Cup final, the Champions League knockout stage and all, you're going to have players like Saka there to take your penalties. You're going to have this guy to take one of the penalties as well. Don't forget. Don't you think I've forgotten about Gyökeres? He's going to take one of those penalties as well. He scored 17 penalties. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we might need those penalties because, today, for example, if Gyökeres was there, he probably scores the first penalty. So, yeah, that is great that we're going to have him there. So, AC Milan ended up winning that penalty shootout by 6-5. It was 5, right? Merino, Zubimendi, DOWMAN, Trossard, Nichols. Those are the ones that scored. So yeah, I actually wanted it to go even further so that you could see all the players taking a penalty. But good practice, I guess. At least we've now gotten to see that Kepa is good at penalties, and that is fantastic. So in terms of overall the game, standouts, you could definitely tell defensively we are still very solid. We are very good at controlling the game. If we don't want you to have a shot at all, you're not going to have a shot at all. And this is a team that doesn't have Gabriel, doesn't have Zubimendi in midfield, didn't have Timber. It was a mixture. It didn't have Lewis Kelly starting, but defensively still very solid. No problem. You could tell Declan Rice still very good play, can do it both attacking, defensive, very, very good. Ben White, probably the best I've seen him since he came back from an injury. That was the Ben White that we had 2 seasons ago. The one who's overlapping and putting in crosses, overlapping crosses, coming back, defending, good combination with Saka on the right side. Those crosses that Ben White and Saka are putting into the box, that's why Gyökeres is really going to enjoy himself. So that was great from Ben White. That was the best performance I've seen him since he came back. So defensively, no problem. We didn't even have a lot to do defensively, really, but when we needed it to do that, Zinchenko and Calafari made a couple of good interceptions. Saliba as well in the second half, very, very good tackle as well. Loftus-Cheek was basically through one-on-one, and Saliba came back from the other side to make a challenge. What a defender. And when the players came on, players like Josh Nichols were actually okay. There's a couple of poor decisions here and there, but you expect it from the youngsters. That's why I said my prediction was 1-1. I thought we were going to score fast, and then when the youngsters came on, we were going to concede because you don't expect 15-year-olds to be perfect when they're up against Rafa Leao, and players like Rafa Leao are on for a longer time as well. So it ended up being 1-0. We didn't actually concede a goal despite Josh Nichols and Salmon coming on in the 65th minute. So we basically had Lewis Kelly, an 18-year-old, with Josh Nichols and Salmon in our defensive line, with no Saliba, no Gabriel, no Timber, none of those players in the last 28 minutes, and we still managed to keep a clean sheet. That is good. Defensively, no problem. Max DOWMAN, fantastic. We can tell that something is happening in Haaland as well, once again, because we're producing some really top players once again. So that is great to see. Very good. New signings, 45 minutes each. Nogard was okay. Mendy was okay in the second half. Obviously, still need to see more. It's only 45 minutes. Let's see the other games. Higher tempo against Newcastle and Tottenham. Let's see how they do in that one. Kepa saved his penalties. Looked comfortable in the game because Milan weren't really attacking that much. So, yeah, in terms of that, great. But obviously, something else turns out. A creativity and all that. You can definitely tell that we still need more creativity in the team. You can tell we still need a striker there. So there's still a lot to improve in terms of the forward areas. There was still a lot going through Saka once again. 5-6 chances. Every time Saka has the ball, you feel like something is going to happen. But when it goes to the other side, you're not really sure what to expect from players like Martinelli. And Martinelli did go past his defender a couple of times, but decision-making is all over the place. And then Havertz, you're supposed to be in the box, but sometimes Havertz was on the right wing, sometimes he was the number 10. So you don't really have anyone in the box just waiting for opportunities to score. No one really. So in terms of that, there's still a lot of space there for NWANERI to have an impact when he comes off the bench or when he starts. There's definitely a lot of opportunities there for Gyökeres to get involved in that forward position. There's still a lot of space for someone like this guy, Eberichi Eze, to make an impact in this team. So there's still we still need more creativity in the team, no problem. I mean, again, Madueke will be an Arsenal player as well after his holiday, so we're also going to need him to be better than what we have right now, for sure. Someone who can take on players, someone who can cut his left foot, right foot, shoot the ball, cross the ball. We're going to need all of these players to make an improvement in our team. Trossard was okay when he came on, but we still need a lot of improvement from Martinelli and players like that. Havertz's positioning, I mean, he's not a striker, so I'm not really expecting Havertz to be in the box the whole game. You can tell the way he's drifting to the right side, left side, to the number 8 position, So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it's the first game of preseason, so you don't expect it to be perfect, nowhere near perfect at all. We've had a lot of draws in the first games actually recently. We drew with Nuremberg one of the years. I think we drew with Bournemouth or something one of the seasons as well. So you don't expect it to be fast. There's a lot of new signings there, from the keeper to Noga to Bimendi, and then there's a lot of players coming back from injury, and then there's players there that you don't know if they're going to be there or not, and then there's players there that are youngsters, 15 years of age. So overall, those were the standouts. My best player overall the whole game, I would say, who would I say? I think it has to be Saka, because he had a big impact in the first half, and then obviously the second half is also scored our goal. So I would have to say Saka was our best player today. And then if I was to have number 2 and 3, I would say Calafiori was good in the first half, very good actually, especially in terms of controlling the ball and pushing us forward. He was good. I think I'd have to say Max DOWMAN, because he really stood out. Max DOWMAN stood out for me as well when he came on. Although with that said, NWANERI was very good in the first half. I think Kepa was good when he came on. I think Nelson actually looked good when he came on. So all of them stood out. Let's see. Saka looked good in the first half. So says Kolapo. Let's do this. Let's see. Nelson was my surprise, says Frederick. I agree. He actually looked very good. But again, we always struggled for getting a market for this kind of players. I don't know why. I mean, I know he was injured a lot last season. Nice game and great start, says Musa. Yeah, for our first game, we just want to win. Golden says we won the game. Why going to penalties? Practice. They're just doing that for practice. But Nelly needs to be good improvement, honestly. Definitely needs to improve a lot. Otherwise, it's not going to be starting next season, especially if Arsenal get Eze. Mia is not going to be starting. Martinelli will still start games, but if today you're asking me who I want to start today between Trossard and Martinelli, I would say Trossard today. If you were playing a Premier League game today, and we had those were our 2 options. Practice, Frederick. We created many chances in the second half. Yeah, chances were there. Let me actually check how many shots we had. Chances were definitely there. We had a lot. Even Trossard, there's a shot that Trossard took from outside the box that was really good, powerful shot. Let me confirm the stats. Let me confirm the stats of the game. So he only had 1 big chance the whole game, but 23 shots. Their goalkeeper made 8 saves. Our goalkeeper only made 1. We had 14 corner kicks, so we were definitely on the attack a lot. And I think half of those were like from shots from outside the box, Bimendi and Trossard and stuff like that. There was a lot of fouls, surprisingly, for our friendly, almost 20 fouls. We saw only big chance we scored from it, so that was the Saka one. 2 through balls, I think that was from Odegaard, and I saw Odegaard and Bimendi making through passes, so I think those are the ones. On offside, let's see, duels, we won more duels. There's a point where Milan were ahead on duels, so I guess when Merino came on, we overtook them. So in terms of chances created, and we only created 1 big chance, so in terms of big chances created. Musa, that's not a lot. That's just one big chance. But today we were not scared of shooting the ball from outside the box. That was great. We were not scared of doing all that. So that was good. Yeah, we always do that in the first game. We always do that. We always go to penalties, even if we win 5-0. Kivia get the passing from Trossard. We have a good game today. I'm very happy with the players, and as you can, even the players are doing great. This is telling me that we are good to go. Not yet. We're waiting for Madueke to get back to speed, waiting for Gyökeres to join up, waiting for Mosquera to join. So there's still a lot of players to join this team, and hopefully Eze as well, and then we'll be good to go. As of now, as I've told you guys, I'm not really keen, and I'm not waking up thinking, oh my goodness, why is Martinelli not being sold? No, I'm not really too keen on Martinelli being sold or Trossard being sold. If you're not in a bad position in terms of money, I would actually keep both of them. But in terms of being desperate, no. I really want to see which players are going to start most of the game, says Martin. Preseason, next time I think is going to be a few more changes. I don't think Gabriel and Timber are ready to go in terms of tough games against like Newcastle. So I'm guessing next time Odegaard starts for sure. I think Zubimendi starts. I think Trossard starts. Havertz or Merino up front, one of them. I don't think Gyökeres will be ready for that one. Calafiori probably doesn't start. Maybe Kivio starts in that one, and then maybe Kepa starts in that one. So there will be a few changes. But in terms of the Premier League games, Martin, we do know that Gabriel and Saliba, if Gabriel is 100% fit, is going to play. Lewis Kelly is going to start. Ben White and Timber, let's see how Timber, recovers from his injury. Midfield, I know it's going to be Mendy, Rice, and Odegaard. Those are going to be our midfield. That NWANERI performance, yeah, that was very good. Cook. He's not scared of shooting the ball. There's a dribble he had like on the far right side. Fantastic. He's so good. So for him as well. So I think I'd actually include him in my top 3 players today alongside Saka and Calafiori. And then I'd have Ben White and DOWMAN as 4 and 5. Cookie says late night for Zubi and Partey in ball progression and tackles. What do you mean by that? Like comparison or what? Let's see. I read this one. Makera says congratulations to Arsenal on to Nelson on his performance. Frederick says Reece Nelson is not for sale. Well, he is. Fulham are already about to take him. Reece Nelson is not going to start at Arsenal, so I think that ship already sailed a long time ago, to be honest. The problem is consistency. I don't think you can just watch 30 minutes and be like, yeah, you're going to keep him. We might get to September and then you're like, oh my goodness, why did we keep him? So yeah, right, that position we are looking, we've been talking about getting wingers like Rodrigo and players like that. That is the kind of level we want to go to. So let's see. Our players need to improve on penalty kicks. Says, there's a point where Arsenal were never missing penalties. There's a time we beat FC Porto in a penalty shootout. We beat Man City in the Community Shield in the penalty shootout. And then there's a point where we were scoring all our penalties. Odegaard was scoring all his penalties. Saka was scoring all his penalties. Fabio Vieira was scoring his penalties. Jorginho scored a couple. There's a Havertz scored his. I remember against Bournemouth, everyone was scoring their penalties. But from last season, though, we lost twice to Man United, and then Saka tried something funny against Real Madrid. He missed his penalty. Havertz missed his penalty against United. Odegaard missed his penalty against United. Odegaard missed today as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to take our penalties when Gyökeres comes in, because I think Gyökeres has scored 17 out of 17 penalties. So if he comes, is he going to take the penalties away from Saka? Are they going to mix it up? So I don't think Arsenal usually have like one penalty taker. We usually mix it up. Sometimes Saka takes it. Sometimes if he feels, he gives it to Odegaard. Sometimes if they feel, they give it to Havertz. But I think if Gyökeres is there, Gyökeres is going to be taking them if it's not Saka. In terms of improving, some of these players are not going to be playing in those games. Someone like a Salmon is 15 years of age. He's a defender, so you don't expect him to be an incredible penalty taker. Kiv is also a defender. That is not his forte at all. Reece Nelson, it was a good penalty, good save. So in terms of poor, I have not seen the Odegaard penalty. That's the one I missed. But the others, in terms of poor penalties, Salmon's penalty was poor. Kivio's penalty was poor. Those are defenders. Reece Nelson's penalty was not poor. I think it was a good save from the goalkeeper. Kai is very good today in terms of marking. I felt like he was a bit quiet a few times, but again, as a striker, his position today was as a striker. You can tell that he's prefers going to the right side, coming back to midfield and all that. He's still very good at holding up the ball and pressing and all that. But again, it's going to be very interesting to see whether it's just going to be coming off the bench or is he going to be starting in midfield. I doubt he's going to be starting in midfield because Declan Rice is now there. And Zubimendi is there. So those players, I'm assuming they're going to be starting in that midfield. So very interested to see how where they play all those guys. So that is the match reaction. Good start to preseason 1-0 win, 6-5 loss on penalties, but we don't care about that one. We focus on the game, the clean sheet, and the performances of the players. So that is great. So next up, we're going to be talking about the transfers, the usual time for the usual show. Where is Gyökeres, was Mosquera? Good start. Next game is Newcastle, I think, on Sunday. So by then, most of the other players are going to be in, players like Mosquera. So let's see how it goes. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.